This TBR is coming to you quite late. It is already a week into October, and I have suddenly found myself with not very much reading time. So I am not particularly hopeful for the number of books that I will be able to read. However, I am still setting myself a very large TBR, so wish me luck. I am going to be participating in Spoopathon this year, which is the readathon that is hosted by Spoopy Hall over on her channel. I'll link everything below. But essentially the premise is that you must escape a haunted house, going through a particular path through this haunted house. For each prompt, you earn a particular amount of points, and those points allow you to pass through the various obstacles in the house, which include ghosts and doors. There are 4 teams in this readathon, and I am a part of the Ghostbuster team, which is the purple team. And we have the ability to bypass any ghosts in the haunted house without needing the extra points to get by. So I'm going to begin my Spoopathon path with the gifted path. I have chosen A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas. I read the first book of the series, A Court of Thorns and Roses, in June of this last summer and absolutely loved it. This is a well-loved series. There are many books, and one of my very dear friends loves this series and has finally convinced me to pick it up. I will be giving you more thoughts on this in a vlog that I'm currently filming, so stay tuned for that. The next book on my October TBR will be the autumnal cover prompt in my path through the haunted house, and I'm going to be using What Big Teeth for this prompt. It's difficult to see in this lighting, but if you look at the top corner, there are leaves that are beginning to turn shades of yellow and orange. So it is a bit of a stretch, but I am counting this book as my autumnal cover. I've been wanting to read this ever since it came in my book box this last summer. It is essentially a YA horror following a girl named Eleanor who has been estranged from her family of werewolves, I believe, maybe vampires. I really don't know a lot about this book, but I have heard mixed reviews about it. It is written by a non-binary author, which is absolutely wonderful. So this will be fulfilling not only the autumnal cover prompt, but also the LGBTQIA bonus prompt. It's supposed to be very creepy, it is supposed to be very haunting, and I am very much looking forward to getting to it this month. The next prompt on my path is a book with 500 or more pages, and for this prompt I have chosen On a Sunbeam by Tillie Walden. This is a graphic novel that follows a love story between 2 women who are in space, I believe. I really don't know very much about this except that the LGBTQIA community raves about it on BookTube, and it has a sapphic romance, which I'm always for, and it's a graphic novel, and it's wonderful. So I am quite excited to get to this. It is not exactly spooky, but it has a dark cover, and it should be a fairly quick read, so I will give you my thoughts on this later this month. The 4th prompt on my path is to read a book with diverse representation, and for this I chose White Smoke by Tiffany Jackson. This is a book written by a Black author, and it is supposed to be terrifying. It just came out in this last month, I believe. It's a very new release. I went to my library today and found it and snapped it up as soon as I saw it and had to add it to my October TBR. If I am still reading this book, it will most likely be the book that I read after dark. I'm not assigning a separate book for the last prompt. I will just be reading it while it is dark outside, and then I will escape the haunted house. I am also very excited to announce that I will be participating in camp Weekendween, hosted by Olivia Reads a Latte and Gabby Reads. I have followed these booktubers for quite a while now, and I'm excited to finally be able to participate in one of their readathons. I will post all of the information below, but essentially it is a weekend of reading dedicated to Halloween. And it's going to be the weekend of Halloween, which is the 29th through the 31st. It's a Friday through Saturday. And they have various prompts for you to fulfill for that weekend. I am planning on covering 2 of the prompts for that weekend. The first one being read a book with a green cover. I will be reading The Night Gardener by Jonathan Auxier. I don't know much about this. I know it is a very spooky, I don't know if it's middle grade or if it's YA. I know I found it in the kids section at the library, but it is one that I've heard very good things about in the past. I don't know anything about it, and I'm planning on going into it fairly blind, but this will be my prompt for green cover. My second prompt for Camp Weekendween will be to read a horror book, and I have chosen the book Horrid by Katrina, Leno. I have never seen or heard of this book before. I picked it up. It was purely a cover buy. It is incredibly spooky, and it is essentially a haunted house story. I'm finding that I'm gravitating a lot towards these this month. I might do a dedicated reading vlog of me reading stories that are essentially someone moving into an abandoned manor in a countryside and then discovering that scary things are happening. I think White Smoke has this premise, Horrid has this premise, Gloom Town is another one that I plan on reading, which I'll share with you in a moment, that also has that premise. It's something that I'm very drawn to, and I love that trope in horror or mystery of any kind. I love haunted houses, so very much looking forward to reading this book. Hopefully I can make it through without becoming too scared. Those are all of the books that I'm reading for readathons this month. I am also picking up the middle grade monthly book of the month, which is They Threw Us Away. And this is a spooky middle grade book about a group of teddy bears who are thrown into the landfill and their journey back to civilization. I've already read this book, actually, and have quite mixed feelings about it. I ended up really enjoying it, so if you'd like to see my thoughts on that, you can see in my vlog that should be coming out here in the next week. But I highly recommend it. I hope that you guys enjoy it as well. I'm also going to be picking up Small Spaces by Kathrine Arden. This is the book club pick for Gavin at How to Train Your Gavin and his Patreon book club. I have a lot of other books that I want to try and read. I also have a book that I'm reading with my 2 best friends, Anna and Brittany. We have known each other forever, and we're going to be rereading a book that is all of our favorites, and it's called Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. A recent adaptation came out of that book, and we were all very, very disappointed in that adaptation, and we thought it would be fun to read it for a book club that we've had going for the last several months now. And we're going to have a video chat about it, which I'll be filming and posting part of it this month as well, so you can hear all of our thoughts and discussion on Rebecca. If you would like to buddy read that with us, we'll be starting that hopefully this week or next. I'll post on my Twitter when we start it. And planning on having a discussion and then also watching the old version of that movie. So if you'd like to join us for that, I would be happy to have you. So other than that, I have a lot of other books that I'd like to get to. Like I said, I won't have a lot of time in October, and October is already flying by so quickly. But I have started... But I have began A Lesson in Vengeance, which I absolutely want to get. This is one of my top books on my TBR this month. I've talked about it a few times. It's a boarding school, dark academia novel. It has a sapphic romance in it, and it has lots of atmospheric gothic vibes. So I am very much interested in reading this book. I've already started the first page or so, but I got sidetracked because now I'm trying to get through my Spoopathon haunted house. So I set this aside, but I will be picking it back up this month. I made an impromptu trip to the library today and ended up picking up a huge stack of books. I'm not sure how many I will get through. It's very ambitious, but I will take you through the ones that I have. So one of the ones I picked up was A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, which is a YA thriller about a girl who's basically trying to solve a murder mystery. I really don't know anything about it. I like going into my thrillers not knowing anything. All I know is that I've heard a lot of hype on this book on BookTube, and a lot of people really, really love it. So it's the beginning of a series, and I want to see what I think of it. I also found an R.L. Stine Presents book of short stories called Scream and Scream Again, with a very spooky skull on the cover. The lighting is hard to see, but I could not pass this up. I might not read the whole thing, but I'd love to sit and read some of these stories on a spooky night. So this is also on my TBR. I picked up Gloom Town, which is a middle grade that I have never heard of before. I saw it at the library. It is by Ronald L. Smith, and it is a story about a young boy who takes a job at a local haunted house, spooky mansion. It's a spooky mansion, and things start happening as you would expect in a spooky mansion. So it sounded fun. I wanted to add a few middle grades to my TBR this month to kind of change up some of the darker horror haunted vibes that I've picked up so far, so I'm very much looking forward to this. I also finally picked up The Night Circus. I know that this is a beloved BookTube book. So many people that I have watched and talked to have adored this novel. I know that it can be hit or miss. Some people like it, some people don't, but I feel like it's going to be something that I really, really love. So I really hope that I can get to this in October. Other than that, there are a couple of random thrillers that have been recommended to me from friends, but I think I'm going to leave my TBR there and see how far I get. If I finish everything that I want that I just said, I can pick up a thriller or so. They go pretty quickly at the end of the month, but I would really like to get through all of these things. I tend to push my spooky themes through to November, but this year I'm going to be participating in Believeathon with Gavin at How to Train Your Gavin. He just dropped his what's it called? Announcement. He just dropped the announcement video today, and I can't tell you how much I loved it. I'm so excited for it. I still am waiting on some more details to know if I could fit more spooky books onto that, but it's primarily middle grade, so a lot of these books that I have are not middle grade, so if I don't get through them this month, I won't have time next month, and then December is like Christmas wintry month, and then the spooky season is over, so I've got a short, limited amount of time to get all of my spooky vibes in. Anyway, wish me luck. Let me know if you've read any of the books on my TBR, what you thought of them. Post below what your TBR is for this month. I'd always love to get recommendations for new I always like to get recommendations for spooky books, old or new. So, I think that's it. I'm so happy that I finally got this filmed. I hope that you guys are having a wonderful start to your October, that you are enjoying your spooky season if you celebrate spooky season. If you liked this video, please remember to like and subscribe to my channel. Comment below with a spooky emoji if you can't think of anything to say, and I will catch you in my next video. Bye!